My name is Hidayah, and not to be confused with the organizer. So I'm with an I and the organizer with an E. So basically, I will say that the research is not as technical, the ones that we did under the Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counterterrorism, or also known as SEARCCT, under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Malaysia. Basically, the research is more towards, it's not technical per se or researchy, but in essence, it's documenting our work and what we have learned so far, trying to contextualize the knowledge that we have gained to our work at SEARCCT as a government agency. Now, going into the background, or setting the context about why we're doing the research, there are currently more than 3 billion gamers worldwide and about 14 million in Malaysia. Of these, around 58% are male and 42% female, but these figures only represent active PC and laptop gamers. So when we look at cross-platform and mobile users, the number is probably or likely much higher. So we have Mobile Legends, PUBG Mobile remain among the most popular games in Malaysia. So as mentioned, Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counterterrorism, or SEARCCT, under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has in recent years observed growing international attention on the risk and harms associated with gaming spaces. These concerns have surfaced in bilateral and multilateral discussions and have been reflected in threat assessments from Singapore, as you can see, the European Union, and research as conducted by UNOCT. And I think we've developed more knowledge since then. I remember in 2022 when we were invited to share our member state perspectives, and I think we've gained a few steps ahead from the last one in 2022. So as one of Malaysia's PCV actors, we felt it was important for us to proactively respond to these international and regional trends and understand the dynamics before they reach our doorstep. So when I say before they reach our doorstep, I wouldn't say that it has not reached, but in essence, this concern has become more immediate recently, as Malaysia saw 2 incidents in October reportedly linked to gaming obsession. One involved a school stabbing where the student left a note that read, "This world is fake, I have already won," suggesting a kind of gamified worldview. And it's probably a little bit small, but the third paragraph says that the note also received an obsession with online games, some revealed an obsession with online games, some of them violent. So this is what the media is reporting. And then in another case, a boy stabbed his brother over Roblox points. As you can see, some snapshots from a quick Google search where the Ministry of Youth and Sports has called upon Roblox, where Roblox vowed to step up monitoring after Malaysian boy stabs brother in dispute, in which they are promising to improve safety through AI and human monitoring. So in essence, these incidents underline why we must act proactively rather than reactively through early engagement, which is our mandate in SEARCCT. As such, we can see that at SEARCCT, we approach prevention through soft approaches with focus on public awareness programs, youth engagement through lectures. I know a little bit boring, but this is why we're looking into games. In fact, when we were out, giving lectures and all that, one of them just, raised up their hand and saying that, "Miss, do you know anything about Discord?" So they were encouraging us to, reach out to them through Discord instead of giving out lectures, like going to these universities and schools. SEARCCT's broader PCV framework emphasizes research, strategic communications, and capacity building. As you can see, we have previously used sports. That's me kicking the ball, playing futsal. And then there's also an approach, sports in a way that we invited, we had the Sonny Bill Williams came to Malaysia. And then arts as well as a tool to build resilience. And now, with the rapid growth of gaming, we see an emerging opportunity to explore gaming spaces as a new medium for PCV efforts in Malaysia. Now, in doing so, we acknowledge a shifting dynamic in global PCV practice, moving away from top-down approaches to bottom-up, community-driven interventions. As the research UNOCT pointed out in 2022, effective prevention requires subcultural literacy in understanding gaming environments, norms, and communication styles. And in 2021 as well, the European Commission also highlighted that PCV actors can benefit from consulting community insiders whose lived experience offers authentic insight. So as mentioned, when we were giving or raising awareness through these programs, I think we had very little knowledge of the community, so we thought this is something that we need to do, the research. So we met with young people, basically going where they are and learning from those already embedded within the space. Now going into the research objective, with that in mind, SEARCCT undertook an exploratory study guided by 3 main objectives to understand the dual nature of gaming ecosystem as both risk and resilient spaces, to examine how gaming spaces can be leveraged for positive prevention, and to explore the role of community actors in shaping safer, more resilient online environments. And this is how we did it. We adopted a qualitative exploratory design to capture perspectives directly from the gaming community, which included 2 focus group discussions with gamers and esports association members and interviews with community moderators, as well as leveraging our existing platform called the University Lecture Series program. So basically, the programs are designed so that participants are encouraged to reflect on their gaming experience and perceptions of risk and resilience. So those are some of the photos that we've had from the past 2 years, some focus group discussion with Esports Association, and our tour, I would say, because we've been to the west side of Malaysia, east side of Malaysia, just reaching out to university students on the topic of exploitation of gaming spaces by extremists. Now, these are some of the findings, although I have to say that perhaps it's not too profound, but at least from our perspective, we are learning as we go, because some of the things that we've done, it's just on a whim, and then it's something that we learn along the way. But these are the findings that are most profound to us, because I would say that it's also relatively new compared to the work that UNOCT has done back in 2022, and I believe I've also been referencing Dr. Lakani's work many years. So this is relatively new and new knowledge to us, at least as a government agency. So the first finding relates to research objective number 1, the dual nature of gaming spaces. So for many, gaming functions as a social space, a place for friendship, belonging, and even emotional support. Some participants said that they talk to their gaming friends more than their real-life friends, saying that gaming friends are closer to us than our usual friends. This goes to show that shared gaming activities can accelerate the formation of close relationships and a sense of belonging. They also said that they talk about almost everything with their online friends. Even one of the participants mentioned that him and his friends discussed the 2022 Malaysian general election through gaming adjacent platforms. I guess this breaks the stereotype that gamers don't care about the real world are not true. This is a stereotype that are often associated with gamers, but from our observation, at least, this is not entirely true. They do care about what's happening in the real world. However, the same emotional bonds that strengthen these communities can also be exploited by malicious actors, people who prey on vulnerability, manipulating loyalty and trust. In one of the sharing of the students we had engagements with, one player was asked by another player if he could come to stay at his house when he visits him, but his parents did not allow. His reply was that all this time, whenever you were unhappy, we were always there to accompany you. Basically saying that it can be manipulated, trust can be exploited and weaponized for, I guess, some emotional blackmail, the emotional bonds that they have. So overall, we found gaming spaces to be complex social ecosystem where risk and resilience coexist. Going into the next findings, examining how gaming spaces can be leveraged for prevention, players shared a strong reluctance to report harmful behavior, often choosing to ignore or even join in to avoid social exclusion. So as you can see, it says here that they don't necessarily adopt the same view offline, but have to portray themselves a certain way to fit in the environment. Belonging and acceptance outweigh the perceived benefits of speaking up, especially if it means that you are too weak, too sensitive for the competitive culture of gaming. Having experienced excessive toxicity, one of the players was concerned that the normalization of toxicity may pose as a problem as it downplays potential serious issues. So these are some of the questions that we ask when we, on our engagement with youth. What are some of your experience or I would say extremist content per se, but in general the experience. So some of them has faced racism, hateful jokes, hate speech, cyberbullying, misogyny, and just to gauge on some of their responses, we've had report, ignoring of those behaviors, call out, quit game indefinitely, toxicity in return, or joining in. Toxicity in return is quite much more common because, to quote them, they were saying that, toxicity begets toxicity. If you're toxic to me, then I'll be toxic to you back. And quitting game indefinitely was something that we found as well, which I guess is counterproductive to the reason why people play games, to be in a community, to have a sense of belonging. But at the end of the day, they just quit game indefinitely because of the excessive toxicity surrounding it. Now, also on leveraging gaming spaces for intervention, one way SEARCCT has applied this insight was through the partnering with online gaming groups to enhance resilience workshop, or POGR, as conducted by my colleagues at the Digital Strategic Communications Division, where it was conducted with various esports association, combining facilitated group discussion with a mini gaming tournament. So as you can see there, at the bottom right, just a group of players playing the PUBG Mobile tournament. The initiative raised awareness of online harms while encouraging players to set their own community standards for respectful engagement. So it's a 3-day workshop with the first 2 focus group discussions on some of the harms and what kind of environment they would want to see in the future. So it was an important step in making prevention feel community-owned rather than imposed. Just wanted to share as well, one of the groups that I facilitated, these are the code of conduct, I would say, some of the things that they visualize to improve within the space. So as you can see, it put emphasis on upholding good name and reputation of oneself and the community, because there was a lot of negativity surrounding gaming community at that time, encouraging the sharing of knowledge and experiences, because some of them quit game indefinitely because they felt that they're not a gamer or they don't play game as good as their gaming friends. Promote a healthy culture that encompasses physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So the question I asked them is, how do you want to do this? So they said that they will strengthen community bond to encourage sharing and build good relationship with parents and educators, which I think is a very important strategy because of the negativity surrounding gaming community. Next, just to share as well some of the things done by my colleagues at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They conducted a team-based or organized a team-based PUBG gameplay to promote positive and healthy communication within gaming spaces. So basically, the teams that won, they win not because they get the most points, but it's because there was some observation on their communications during the day itself, using peace development and unity points. So yeah, trying to incentivize positive behaviors while playing games, which shows or demonstrates that gaming can serve as a constructive platform for engagement and resilience building. Next, we found looking into community actors, particularly streamers, professional players, and moderators. Participants often describe streamers as source of motivation. As you can see, one of the reasons, it's a direct quotation, this person gave motivation to live. And then leadership and positivity. Some said that streamers inspired them through their charisma, humility, and ability to overcome negativity. So a name that came up most frequently in Malaysia was Solos. He's one of the Malaysia's most followed gamers and the most watched creator in the esports category. So these figures, these personalities, they can serve as credible messengers. We've always known that for PCVE or counter messaging to work, we have to have messengers and the medium. So this is one of the important steps in identifying the messengers themselves. And then moderators, on the other hand, serve as the informal custodians of safety. They enforce community standards, discourage underage participation, for example, support victims of harassment, and intervene against hate speech, all essential elements of online resilience. Now a little bit more on role of community actors. we have a striking example, comes from a Malaysian-themed Roblox metaverse, which now has over 390,000 members, where the community moderators implemented custom moderation tools, including in-game reporting systems and bilingual chat filters in Bahasa Melayu and English. They even added an extra layer of localized filtering to detect slang or harmful expressions specific to Malaysian users. So these community-driven safety innovations show that local actors can play a key role in shaping contextually relevant moderation systems. So I'll be going now into some of the challenges. While findings highlight significant potential, there are some implementation challenges. Number one is the evolving online ecosystem with new platforms, slang, and trends emerging constantly, making it difficult to maintain relevance. Second, coordination remains fragmented. PCVE in the digital domain cuts across various sectors: cybersecurity, youth, sports, media, and counterterrorism, as you can see, each guided by its own framework. Third, digital literacy gaps persist. Many users still lack awareness of how online radicalization unfolds. And finally, speaking from our very own experience, perception and community pushback, some in the gaming community question why single out video games. So we've had a blog written about some of the articles that we've put out. So we have encountered that ourselves. So we made sure our messaging focuses on collaboration and empowerment, not stigma. Lastly, on the recommendation, based on these insights, we propose several recommendations. Build trust-based communication channels, empower the community, collaborate with platforms for contextual relevance, and advancing a whole-of-society approach. Lastly, I would close with, this wasn't a deeply academic study, like I mentioned earlier, but rather an attempt from a government agency to better understand the gaming ecosystem and how prevention might work within it. It represents a practitioner's perspective, blending research with on-the-ground engagement. I hope it added a different lens for today's discussion, showing how government actors are beginning to think about PCVE in less traditional, more youth-oriented spaces like gaming. Thank you.